Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoteric and our continuing series, the Unported playlist, where I take a look at some of my favorite unported arcade games of all time. Today we're taking a look at the real Ghostbusters, released in 1987 by Data East. Before we get too far involved though, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like, subscribe, and that notification bell definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, I got a Patreon link down there as well. Now I will say this is not one of my favorite unported arcade games of all time. It is dumb fun, and it's really fun to play during Halloween, but it is just a decent game. But anytime there's an unported Ghostbusters arcade game, you definitely want to talk about it during Halloween. And if you've ever played anything like Gauntlet or any other run and gun game, you're going to understand completely what you're supposed to do, even if I took an early death there. Kill the monsters, get their ghosts in your proton beam, because those are going to be worth bonuses later on. The fun part about this game is how different it is to the movies. There's some definite glaring errors in some of the lore, and none of the monsters really ever appear in the movie. You'll see our little friend Slimer over there, and we should probably collect him, because at least he's one thing that I do recognize. And I will say that this game is a ton of fun, and it is quite difficult, but as you play it, you get better at it. And one credit gives you something like 30 lives, because you're going to be dying a lot in this game. And if you need more power-ups or more life, just pop another credit in, and you have more. You'll see we're at our first boss here, this ghost who's throwing what I think might be paper towels or napkins at us. It must be very dangerous because I died to it, but I don't remember anything like this in the movie. And of course, licensed games never really totally hew towards the movie, but there's so little that actually makes this a Ghostbusters game outside of the proton pack and catching ghosts. But you'll see here we cleared the first stage. We have 29 ghosts in our proton pack, so we're going to load those into the ghost storage, and every 100 ghosts you get a 1-up. But you're going to be spending so many lives on each individual stage, it doesn't really matter if you actually get a 1-up or not, because just pump in virtual credits and you will be good to go. And I do like these type of games, the early, arcade games, late 80s, early 90s, they had a certain look to them, and I do remember seeing this in arcades. I don't think I ever played it, even though I was a fan of the Ghostbusters movies, but being able to emulate this in MAME makes perfect sense. Now we have these really gooey looking orange monsters dragging their butts across the ground, and it's just like I said, nothing really in this game actually existed in the movie. The environments are completely different, so really it's a Ghostbusters game in name only, but it is a ton of fun. Now I'd certainly much rather play something like Mercs from Capcom for my run and gun fun, but it's always great to have another horror game, and it gets kind of hard doing this Halloween after Halloween talking about horror arcade games. If you think 2021's been rough, wait till 2022 when I'm really scraping the bottom of the horror barrel for arcade games, because honestly I've already covered a lot of my favorite ones. But there's a lot of fun to be had in this game, especially as 2-player mode. It can actually get really fun when you're playing with friends. Now one minor complaint is this is only stage 2, and the boss is just a tank. He can sponge up so much damage without dying. You'll see here I'm just unloading my proton pack beam into him, and it just takes a long time to beat him. You can definitely tell this was set up for 2 players though, because when his eye comes towards one player, the second player could run in and 100% absolutely, just start unloading on him. And I will say after stage 2, most bosses and a lot of enemies unleash suicide bullets as well, so you're going to take one unfair death there when you beat him, because that's the first time you find out that suicide bullets are actually a thing in this game. But now on to stage 3, we have these gooey balls that launch out these little demons that kind of look like they might be from Galaga, those little beams there, kind of little mixed use of some graphics. I don't know if they were borrowed or just inspired by, but definitely nothing from actual Ghostbusters. And we got some what I think are sea monsters or maybe mandrake roots and some clay mummies. It's just all over the place. But let's get this Slimer right here. Green Ghost. You had one job, Data East. You had the full license for Ghostbusters. You could have called it Slimer, but no. That is our friend Green Ghost. You remember him from the movies, right? When he comes out of the cake, when he comes out of the bus, everyone says Green Ghost, I'm pretty sure. But I'm kind of making fun of the game a little bit, and it really isn't bad. It's a lot of fun, but there's just some weird things like that. Like, why would you call Slimer Green Ghost? I mean, it's not wrong. He is a green ghost, but that's not his name. That would be like calling E.T. Brown Alien in an arcade game. His name's E.T., not Brown Alien. But now we're onto these giant vultures. I think that's what they are. They look kind of like 2-legged turkey vultures that are just trying to claw into our skin, and we definitely take a lot of deaths from them. Like I said, it's Halloween. I love talking about horror games during Halloween, so why not show you guys something a little bit new and a little bit unique. But the music at least is really good. Not that the game's bad, but I like the music. Listen for about 30 to 45 seconds and I'll come back and talk more about the real Ghostbusters, which is a not really Ghostbusters game. So yeah, you get a really nice chiptune rendition of the Ghostbusters theme, unless for some reason that throws up a copyright strike, so if you didn't get to hear it, that's why. And I do love the enemy designs, even if they don't have anything to do with the movie whatsoever. They're a lot of fun, they look properly scary as far as a horror game is concerned, and you get a lot of different sprites on screen at once. The game's definitely pushing around a lot. And outside of this one death that I take on this boss here, a lot of the bosses in the game can basically just be cheesed. If you run up here, you can use your proton pack to stun lock this giant skull on the wall, and he's never going to be able to hit you again outside of those suicide bullets, which are really hard to run away from. So once you actually get to learn how to play the game and kind of figure out some of its tricks, you can actually become quite good at it and start basically running to the end of every level and beating the boss quickly. Is this the best unported arcade game ever? Definitely not. Is it some dumb fun? Absolutely. If you're playing with 2 players, does it get better? 100%. It's only a Ghostbusters game in name. Of course you get Slimer, you get the proton pack, but otherwise nothing in this game is going to even remotely look like it's from a Ghostbusters game. Those spires there kind of remind me of stuff from Ghouls and Ghosts, and then we have these jumping around demons that come out of holes. And you can get swarmed in this game, and you just gotta kind of watch where you're able to go. You definitely don't want to trap yourself in a corner, because that is definitely going to be to your detriment. But yeah, I mean, it's Halloween. How could you not talk about a Ghostbusters game? And now we have these things here. I'm not sure if they're devils. They look like something out of like a Gundam movie or an anime. They definitely have that flair to them versus being scary ghosts. But I mean, what are you going to do? The Ghostbusters were called. They fight the monsters that they see. And if it doesn't look like the monsters from the movie, what are you going to do about that? I mean, I would love the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and any of the other things from the movie. It's very strange that they didn't use any of the iconography from the movies in the game, because they had the license, or else it wouldn't be called the real Ghostbusters. But short of that, that is the game. It's a lot of dumb fun. If you're sitting around with a friend, you'll definitely have a lot more fun with it, and you could play a lot worse arcade games during Halloween. And I'm going to be showing you a terrible Halloween game soon. But we got our buddy Green Ghost back, the most famous character from the Ghostbusters series, and we're good to go. If you have any questions or comments, I'll leave them down below. I've chatted with you guys. Do me a huge favor, hit like, subscribe, that notification bell definitely helps us out, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.